I'm reviewing Of Two Minds by Leah Davidson, and it's another Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award entrant. When I started reading this, after a few paragraphs, I was confused as to who the main character was. I was wondering whether anything uncliched was going to happen, and I was thinking, I really don't want to have to give a low score for this, but I can't see how I could give a reasonably high score for it. I really don't like giving low scores, but if I don't give low scores to some things, then it invalidates the high scores that I do give. But I carried on reading because I do diligently read to the end of an extract, even if the beginning doesn't completely enthrall me, because I want to give it a fair shot. That's not to say that most readers, most editors, most publishers, most agents, people when they're looking at a book in a bookshop and read the first few pages before they decide to buy, probably are not likely to get as far as I did. The point when I started thinking, yes, this is good, this is really good, this is actually, it's got something that is unique, it's not just another fantasy novel, was quite near the end of the extract, was the point where the main character was talking, telepathically talking to his sister, and you've got a mention of the area in the mind that is kept specifically for her, that was worn through childhood, and kind of the way that they joke with each other, and this characterisation there, it's really a really good scene, and I would say that would make a much better scene as the opening, because you really get to know the character. When I was reading the opening, and I was reading about a child in school, and there was a magus and there was a lord, and I actually thought that what's his name? Lord Marinan. I actually thought Lord Marinan was a different person to Timu, because one of the mistakes I think that you make in the opening scene is that you're referring to your main character by two different names, and so you get this confusion. And also, to me, a lord is an adult, not a child. Well, of course, once I got through the end of the first couple of pages, I realised that this was the same person, that this lord was some kind of teenager lord. But by then I'd already got this confusion going. I really like the scene with the rabbits, and Timu is wanting to save the baby rabbits, and he doesn't really, he's a bit embarrassed about witnessing what's going on between them, the people that are disturbing the rabbits. And I think that's really good, because that shows his character. That's an important scene, but I think that could be shifted to a bit later, and you could have a much more punchy opening, and going straight into the telepathic connection with the sister, and then have the scene with the rabbits a bit later. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to write it. I'm just saying, as a reader, I need something really strong and powerful at the beginning to really pull me in, and I didn't really get that. I'm going to give 4 points, because the ending of this extract made up for the fact that I wasn't as drawn in at the beginning. So I think that it is good. It's just that it needs a little bit more work before I would want to read it. And like I say, there are cliches in it, but then there are cliches in most fantasy books. I mean, I read Eragon, and I thought that was so derivative all the way through, and yet, it's a bestseller. So that's not to say that if something has got cliches in it that it's not going to sell. I do like to have a fantasy. If I'm going to read fantasy, I like it to lift a bit off the ground, and I think you've done this, but only towards the end of that extract. So I hope that's not too much waffle for you, and that's my review. The end. Okay, my next